Now boarding for Rebuild of Joycast, your weekly destination for anime, manga, and more.
Welcome back, everyone, to Joycast.
Sadly, Steena's not with us this week.
Yeah, it's always sad when Steena's not here, but...
Yeah, Steena was here last week, yeah?
Yep, Steena was here last week. She just kind of jumps in and out here and there. Like, there's never a set schedule. There's never a set schedule for guests. And Steena's like not even a guest anymore. She's literally staff and will just show up when she fucking feels like it.
Yeah, I was a bit sad though, because the last time we didn't get to talk about as much random shit as we usually do, because it was definitely a more, it was more focused on the anime Crunchyroll Awards. That was it. Yeah.
Which was topical, which we need to do, because I mean, that's part of the reason why Steena was there, because it's her job to keep us focused and being topical.
Agreed. How's your week been though, Ivan?
My week's been fine. I've got nothing I want to speak about on a podcast. That's for sure.
No, I've mostly been doing good. I had a weird day.
I'm just tired.
I had a weird day the other week. I've been run down all week because I went for a job interview. I cycled there because I wanted to get some exercise in. And I didn't, on the Google Maps, you know how it's like, you got different modes of transport, and it'll tell you like how long it'll generally take you to get to where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot to click on the cycling one, so what I thought was going to be a 17-minute bike ride turned to like at least a 30 or so minute bike ride to a job interview. And I'm going along a muddy-ass canal.
First, I was going to say, 30-minute bike ride's not bad.
It's not bad, but it's
job
like,
interview.
Yeah, but I'm going to a job interview. So I was like, oh shit, it's not 17 minutes, it's going to be 30 minutes. So yeah, that's all right, because I've left myself with like 15 minutes to get there or something like that, because, you know, get there early and all that. But there's loads of twists and turns, and it's kind of confusing on some of the directions it's sending me down, because it's like, you know, little side routes and canals and all that. And I get to a point where it's like a muddy-ass canal route, and I'm like, shit, I'd better take it slower, else I'm going to get, like, mud all up my trousers and everything, and I'm not going to look smart casual anymore. And, but then I'm like, shit, if I don't pedal my ass off now, I'm going to be late. And I've been recommended for this job, so I'm like, which is worse, showing up with like slightly muddy trousers when I've been recommended, or showing up on time with slightly muddy trousers?
See, if I was you, I would
late.
Roll through the fucking mud just to prove my dedication.
That is exactly what I landed on. So I'm like fucking pedaling my ass off down this canal route. I'm like hailing down fishermen on the canal route going, is this the way to this place? And they're like, yeah, just go left or something. I'm like, thanks. I'm like, it's like Yowamushi Pedal or whatever the hell that fucking anime's called with the bike riders and everything.
You doing the bob and weave like the weird weirdo?
Yeah, I almost land in the fucking like canal at one point because a goddamn duck got in my way. But I make it on time. The job interview goes okay. It was for a lighting technician job at like a venue/club. And that goes alright. You know, I apologize for having muddy trousers and all that, but they're cool with it. And then I get outside, and it's absolutely pouring down, Ivan, with rain. I try to see if I can get some lifts off people.
Well, where there's mud, there's rain.
But even my mum was like, you know, don't go on a bike if it's a job interview. I'm like, nah, you know, it's not that far away. I can get the exercise and all that. You know, it's a win-win. I can get there on time. Which I did, but then I'm like, shit, it's raining. She's like, I call everyone who could possibly give me the lift, and even she's like, well, you made your bed, you gotta power through. I'm like, yeah, I know. And then I come across these two dodgy dudes under like a bridge, just like drinking ciders and stuff. Like, they're like, hey mate, you wanna chill with us while the rain's going? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah.
Pretty cool like us.
Yeah, and they go,
you agreed with them?
I agreed with them.
Don't give it the peer pressure.
I put my bike up to the wall. I went, you know what?
While you're late for a job interview?
No, this is after the job interview.
Oh, after the job interview.
After the job interview, which I got
feel
there
like you should
right.
Still be a good Christian boy.
I got there right on time, and I'm just like fed up. It's raining like a bitch.
This
and
is
I'm
just
like,
Pinocchio, but with Val.
And I'm just like, no. What's that manga you like with the little green haired girl? It's like that.
Oh, Yatsubato?
It's a Yatsubato story.
Yatsubato isn't given to peer pressure.
No, I just
strong,
sat
independent woman.
I just sat down and I was like, you know what? Yeah, dude. And they're like surprised. They're like, oh, what the fuck? Okay. And they'll like pull out a tinny for me of cider. And I'm like, no, I'm not drinking. They're like, wait, do you smoke? And I'm like, depends on what, like weed?
You're a voice actor.
And they're like,
you don't smoke?
I do every now and then.
Val, come on now. Respect your instrument.
When it's good, when I want to. Anyway, I'm sat under this bridge just smoking a joint with these two guys, like, you know, just chilling. And it turns out they're welders, actually. And they even need, like, laborers at their job. And I'm just like, oh, dude, I got my CITB and everything, and they're like, oh, fuck yeah, then I get like these numbers and everything. So if this job doesn't
two job interviews.
I got 2 job interviews.
2 for the price
technically.
of 1.
Yeah,
Thanks
so
to
it's
the
just
bike. Thanks, Google Maps.
Yeah, so it was just like it was just like a funny coincidental day, and then I'm like riding my ass off home. Stopping every now and then, just talking to friends about like the funny interaction that I just had when I'm on my way, and I stop for like some battered chips, which is like a West Midland thing, because I'm freezing my ass off. I'm trying to text out a message, and it's so cold I can't like move my thumbs. You know when your thumbs are just so rigid because it's so cold.
Yes, because it's cold. Yeah.
Yeah. It just absolutely sucks. I get these chips, and they're really freaking good. I enjoy them, and I get home eventually. I got a flat tire 2 miles out from my home.
I saw that tweet.
Yeah, I got a flat tire 2 miles out from my home and everything, but I'm just like, whatever, I'm just gonna like drag my bike along or push it, which kind of sucked, but like I said, whatever. And then the next day, this is the interesting part. Well, no, I've already gone past the interesting part, but this is like the additional bullshit and like the mixed feeling of that day, because in my mind, I was like, initially, I had a little adventure. That was pretty cool. I met 2 cool dudes. You know, I went to a job interview. I got there on time, but I got muddy and I'm cold and I'm tired as hell. I'm all run down and I'm kind of like, you know, just stiff this week because, you know, being out in the cold for like 3 hours basically. And I look at my banking app and I got charged £27 for this fucking single bag of chips, and I had to sort out that the other day and get like £25 back off them. It was just such a weird day. That was my Tuesday to my Thursday, basically. It's just been a weird week, I suppose. So I just wanted to talk about that. But I'm looking forward to talking about some goddamn manga, because we have some stuff to talk about, frankly.
There's some good manga to talk about this week.
There really is.
So we got 3 this week. We got JoJoLands, One Piece, and Chainsaw Man. You pick, bud. Where do you want to go first?
I want to talk about JoJoLands first, because I think it's quite interesting. JoJoLands has already been fairly interesting to me. For one thing, I think the art is kind of hit or miss in some cases.
Yes,
I agree. You noticed that immediately?
Like, I agree that the art has been a bit rough.
But I also find it like almost like a fucking meme. Like the first thing that occurs to me is when JoJo. So basically, to set up the scene, the chapter starts out with this like gorgeous woman riding along her bike through like Hawaii, and she approaches JoJo. Obviously, it's like a pickup kind of thing. And JoJo's initially like, just put the money in the can if you want it. But she's like, oh, but what if is it worth the money? It's like, just put the money in the can. The ball's in your court, bitch. And I kind of like how weird, how paranoid and just weird JoJo is. He's very standoffish.
No, it's very funny because they start talking about systems. Because the more they start having this conversation, the more he starts getting suspicious of her, and then he starts calling her a cop.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're a cop, fuck off. And she's like, no. Because you gotta say that law and justice is a system. And if I was a cop, I would have to answer you honestly that I'm a cop. Because if a cop lies, then that undoes the system of justice.
I was sat there immediately and I was like, I'm pretty sure everyone knows that law is bullshit. Or
Yes, it's absolute bullshit.
That rumor is bullshit where it's like, are you a cop?
But she said, system.
And he's like,
yeah, system.
He's like, oh, system, because he's a 15-year-old boy and he like kind of believes her.
He's about systems, and then he's like, all right, fine. And then so they go with the pickup, and immediately she pulls out her fucking gun and goes, I'm a fucking cop, bitch. Get the fuck on the ground. On your knees, fucking bitch.
No, but do you love it? Do you kind of love it when he's like, the more I look at you, the more you're kind of sus. You look more policey by the minute. And then it cuts to that awful shot of her with like the short neck and like the weird looking face, and it just looks awful.
The big head.
And it's like, what the heck? It's like almost intentional, weirdly.
Yeah. So then this whole fucking like one shot happened just randomly. It's just another excuse to him to keep dunking on cops, which I'm like, you know what?
Pretty much.
I ain't complaining.
Yeah, I know you ain't.
This is our first American JoJo, and it's spent.
Well, it's
not
your first.
2 chapters just
Steel Ball Run. Steel Ball Run is your first American JoJo. This is the
you're
first.
Right. I'm sorry.
This is
you're
the first modern American JoJo.
Modern America.
Really, or really Hawaii. It's Hawaii, and I don't. Hawaii is part of America, right?
Yes,
it's a weird thing. Is it one of those things where they don't like that they're part of America or something?
Yes.
Yeah,
even though like it's mostly populated by white people and people who never lived there anyways. But yes.
Yeah. And anyway.
But yes, it was land that we stole from an indigenous population. Yes.
Yeah, fair enough.
That we blatantly did. There's no going around it.
Oh yeah, the pickup happens and fucking I don't know his name yet. The only ones I remember are Dragona Joestar or is it Joestar? Is it Jodio Joestar?
They're Joestars. They are Joestars.
Okay, then.
They're descendants of Joestars.
But then their mom is like something Anne. Anyway, the guy
the mom
with
is someone special.
Yeah, I think it's Smooth Criminal that the guy on the fucking e-scooter has. I fucking hate e-scooters.
Me too.
He like shows up and it's like under the leaf. As she just picks up like this random leaf off the floor and finds her drugs. And then the cops from chapter 1 make a return and
dude,
like
more sex pesting. I'm over it.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, I want to rub my cock. Like literally, he
literally
says,
saying
yeah,
this shit.
I want
I'm
to
just
rub
like,
my
oh
cock
my
all over
god,
your
I
face.
don't care.
It's
the
like,
stakes have already been
Jesus
established.
Christ. I'm just wondering, like, the guy with sunglasses never says jack shit. I feel like he's probably just there being like, why am I partnered with this fucking
swear to God, if
freak?
we open chapter 3 and it's just more of these same cops getting the shit kicked out of them, like, is that just what JoJoLands is?
Like, okay, here's the thing that I find interesting. So JoJo uses his powers on the cops. They're all like, you know, oh, I was using the headlight in my bicycle, my weird headlight that you referred to a minute ago in my bicycle to record our conversations, both in audio and visual.
Yeah. You said it was a camera and mic, and haha, you're wrong. It's a camera and mic, you dumb bitch.
Yeah, and guess what? They were in the fucking ice cream van. Fuck you. You were right the entire time, JoJo. You were
right. You were correct this entire time. You fucking dumbass.
You literally rolled a nat 20 on perception, JoJo, and then you failed.
And you still failed.
What the fuck? So he uses November Rain to destroy the evidence in a kind of cool scene. I really like November Rain, the shot of it towering over the policeman and everything.
It's a cool shot.
It really is, and
it's very unsettling.
It is. It's a cool stand in that regard because it's something different than a fucking punch ghost. Which
since Steel Ball Run, stands have gotten very fucking interesting.
They have. Part 8 had some of the best stands in my opinion in terms of like interest. Same with Part 7 because they lacked the punch ghost aspect a lot of the time. They weren't going in for like, you know, just punches. Although I do like punch ghosts in JoJo, especially for things like All-Star Battle and everything.
Well, punch ghost is what I think of JoJo. Like that's what I think. Like these are the things that are very unlike JoJo to me. But since Steel Ball Run, honestly, they have become more like creatures. They've been going for more of the creature set.
It's super cool. So JoJo destroys the evidence, and this is the thing that I find interesting. JoJo says people that can't see them never look at them. Which, you know, kind of a silly lie, because, like, well, of course they can't see them. And this is the bit that interested me. Is JoJoLands going to have more conflict with the police, and are we going to have more police with stands?
I feel like that's an inevitability. Like, at some point, one is going to drop in with one.
Yeah, and obviously, because you know me, I'm not really a cop hater, and I'm fine with Ivan. Actually, no, I hate English policemen, actually. To be honest, but it's a whole thing over here.
I can't complain. I can't complain about what I don't know about.
Yeah,
but I know my cops well, and I will bitch constantly.
Okay, the thing with England, I don't talk about much. England has a lot. Like, I like America mostly because you have freedom of speech laws. We don't have freedom of speech laws really. And you can get arrested for just saying shit online, which, you know, in some cases I understand.
Bullshit.
I understand when some people like go way too fucking far with these things, but sometimes it's just like you can't. That's just kind of fucking wrong to arrest people for certain things. I think recently there was a woman who was like arrested for just praying or something, like silently. It's a whole fucking thing. I'm not gonna get into it because it pisses me off. Anyway, so I'm more interested in, like, you know, police characters coming in with their own stands and having conflicts with JoJo, because I think that'd be kind of cool.
I feel that's inevitable. Like, there's gonna be an escalation here. The fact that we keep bringing these guys back, it feels like that just like it's inviting escalation.
I almost want a Zenigata type character, to be honest, that like thwarts JoJo relatively often. And JoJo
Zenigata would improve any story.
Yeah, and JoJo probably can't kill this character because, like, well, then it's like, well, you're a cop killer, JoJo. Your life is fucking over.
A cop that follows you everywhere? Yes, please.
So that whole thing basically was an introduction chapter. Honestly, I feel like Araki did it because he wasn't that happy with the introduction to JoJo as a character or JoJo's stand.
Yeah, I feel like he wanted to do it again.
Because this whole first bit was honestly unnecessary. To be completely honest,
yeah, no,
but it was still
completely
cool.
threw me the fuck off. Like, I'm just like, wow, I thought we were going on a heist, and now we're just doing another one-shot? They do get to the heist.
And then chapter, like, you know, volume, or not volume name, part name drops, part 9, the JoJoLands, and we finally get to the heist bit, where Hot Dog Boy, as he is known, he has a name, they mention his name in this chapter. He has a stand, yes, he does. Kind of a stand that I'm kind of like... I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of feel like it's dumb, the reasoning
it's
behind
incredibly stupid. He's like, we're gonna make a camera, but it records twice and mirrored, and our faces are slightly altered, so it can't be used in court, even though it still very much looks like us, but just vaguely. I'm just like, why can't we just have a completely fake camera? Why does it have to be vaguely?
Why? I understand that they're like, oh, our employer trusts him.
Why can't we just block the camera?
Dragona mentions that can I just say, by the way, part of the reason that, like, I feel like Dragona's name is, like, memorable is because literally they are a man who wears, like, women's clothes and everything. Drag owner. I feel like he made it into a pun, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just wanted to say
fine,
that.
we know Araki's cool with that shit, so he can make that joke all he fucking wants.
Yeah, he's been doing it for the fucking longest time.
He's doing it longer than anybody. That's
exactly.
Totally fine. So if your drag character's named Dragona, like, fucking, I think that's fucking hilarious.
Sure thing. But it's kind of dumb, and also I am kind of like, why do these characters... I understand that they say our employer trusts them, so we should as well, because we're on a job right now. And, but I'm also just like, I wouldn't fucking trust a guy who just says, like, oh yeah, this is what my stand does. And,
yeah, we gotta remember, go back to chapter 1, JoJo's all about his system, and like, hey, he's a gopher, he follows these very specific set of rules, and things just work out for him.
Precisely. He's
so maybe this is the challenge to the system.
He's got a process, and honestly, I really think... Maybe not, but I really think a lot of these characters are gonna die.
It'd be funny. Like, if it did, like, a heist to go, like we need an inciting incident. We keep doing these one-shots with the cops, and they're not really inciting incidents, more than just opportunities for JoJo to be fucking silly and dunk on cops.
He's just dunking, basically.
Yeah, he's having a lot of save the cat moments. Is what he's doing. And his save the cat is dunking on cops.
Pretty
for
much.
us to endear ourselves to him.
But it's like... I just think that this will be more interesting if a lot of these characters die right off the bat, and it's more about JoJo,
we need something to pop off. Something needs to go incredibly wrong to set this guy on the path of his main story.
Exactly, because honestly, like in part 7 and part 8, you know, the last two parts that we had, Johnny's inciting incident that sets him off on this journey has already happened. His brother's died. He's been crippled because he fucked with the wrong guy on the wrong day.
Yeah.
And for Josuke, we obviously learn about the inciting incident that brings Josuke into the world eventually. But it always starts off with things that, like, it's like the inciting incident has already happened for our main characters.
Well, like, for Josuke, his grandpa got murdered. Like, that's what happened.
No, part 8 Josuke.
Oh, part 8 Josuke. Okay.
Yeah, the last two parts.
That one was easy. He wakes up and has no memory. Like, it's
exactly.
Instant, fish out of water. Like, it's a cure-all, man.
Why do I have 4 testicles? It's honestly, I still think that, I think that JoJolion had, like, one of the strongest starts to a JoJo.
It was a very fascinating story. We've already brought this up. Like, it's a very fascinating story. It just couldn't, you know.
It really is. And I think I mentioned this last time we talked about JoJoLands. I compartmentalized, like, a lot of chapters into a single chapter, thinking that it was just an extra long chapter and we got, like, so much from it. But there was a lot more build-up. There was, like, 3 chapters of build-up till it got super interesting, in my opinion. And I also stand by that Josuke's initial power is probably the coolest power and stand that Araki has ever come up with. So, the characters in JoJoLands are scoping out the area that they're looking at. It's like a big manor, and they're just, like, chilling. They infiltrate it using the camera power, or not the camera power, the multiple... I'm not sure how to describe it. Basically, Hot Dog Boy tells someone, tell me you want something. It only works if someone else says it, because it doesn't
if they desire it. Like,
yeah,
he can't desire it, but...
It's like a witch doctor kind of thing, you know, like Dr. Facilier and Princess and the Frog, where he's like, oh, I can't do anything for myself. Other people need to want things. And that's like the thing about his power. And you know what, quite frankly, that's a good thing, because Hot Dog Boy is a drug addict.
Well, it's an Okuyasu situation. Like, being able to get what you desire, that's super OP. There's gotta be a catch.
Yeah, and it's that someone else needs to want it. And they infiltrate, and Jodio is on lookout while the others are searching for this diamond that they're trying to find. And it turns out the Japanese man who is at the pool, essentially, he emerges from the pool looking glorious. It's fucking Rohan Kishibe.
Yeah, big fucking surprise. We knew it was gonna be someone important, and go figure, it's the most popular character.
Yeah, it's Araki's favorite character, and this leads you to wonder, is he going to be the first antagonist? And is he going to wipe the floor with these people? Because Rohan is such a fucking wild card. He could either wipe the floor with these people, potentially even kill them, if he's so pleased, or do something really, or he could join them. But my thought is that he is going to do something to Jodio with Heaven's Door, and he might actually, like, change Jodio's personality.
Or just the how his stand works, or anything. Like, something, this is gonna be the inciting incident. Something's gonna push this forward. Honestly, I feel like we've got a bit of a legacy sequel to Part 4, even though technically Part 8 was that.
I mean, it's a weird one, because we don't know. People are saying, like, are we in the same universe as JoJo?
Yeah, what universe are we in right now? And this tells me this feels like the original.
Yeah, there is nothing to say that, like, this is JoJolian world or Steel Ball Run world or anything like that. I mean, we might get hints later on. This is the stuff that always interests me about JoJo, when Araki, like, makes something new, and then, like, halfway through, because you know my opinion on JoJolian, I feel like JoJolian had a really great start, and it was really good up to, like, a middle point where I think Urban Gorilla or something showed up, and then I honestly dropped it. I still need to properly read through JoJolian, but I found it just so freaking hard to get through. I really think Araki dropped the ball on JoJolian, and I'm worried that he's going to drop the ball on JoJoLanders. But once again, Araki knows how to fucking pull me in. He knows how to pull the JoJo community
he always
in.
has a strong start, man.
He does.
The only JoJo that's ever consistently held my attention was Part 4.
Yeah, you absolutely love Part 4.
Honestly, I could say it about every JoJo. I could say the same. They all start very strong, and then they all kind of futter out. Like, I think only Part 1 and 2 are the only other ones that, like, maintain my interest.
See, I just want to say this just because it's a thing you mentioned. Like,
pretty consistent.
Yeah, no, Part 6, I feel like Part 6 in many cases is the weakest for things like Dragon's Dream, that freaking green guy in the boat and everything. I can't remember his name right now. Maybe it will come to me later. There's a lot of bits in Part 6 that I just feel aren't very good, but it's not bad. Like, I have a freaking poster of Jolin because at one point she was one of my favorite JoJos
I just
before,
feel like
the
honestly,
animes
you don't
came
have
out
to
and
say it's the
everything.
weakest when Chapter 8's just sitting right there. We just discussed how we can't finish it.
I couldn't even finish. Yeah, you're right.
It's a very easy argument here. It's Part 8's the problem. We don't have to drag anyone else down.
True. I mean, I will update that list when I actually sit down and, like, read the rest of Part 8 that I haven't seen, because I know how it ends and everything. I'll get back to it at some point. But otherwise, I think this chapter was a really strong start, to be honest, to, like, the whole thing. Like, we've waited a month for it.
It's gonna be a monthly one, and right now I'm good with it.
Yeah, but besides, like, the start, which, like I said, it was cool. It was a nicer introduction to Jodio, to be honest. But it was kind of, like, unnecessary. Good chapter. I am excited to see what Rohan does. I am really hoping that he uses Heaven's Door to do something with Jodio, or, like I said, because Rohan's such a weirdo, he might just be, like, for the sake of my manga, I am going to join you on your criminal escapades.
I know,
for a
right?
bit.
Like, who knows?
Yeah, it's
Who knows
really
what can
like
happen? Like, it's interesting.
like we know so much about Rohan as a character, and I'm kind of interested if this will tie. Have you watched or read any of the Spoke Kishibe Rohan?
I have not.
Rohan Kishibe. One of the last ones that they did, it was called The Run, and it's one where this guy is like obsessively working out to just an extreme degree. He like puts in rock climbing bits, like the nodules or something. What are they called? Like the bits that you climb on in rock climbing.
They're boulders.
They're just footholds and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's boulders.
Holds, yeah. He like inserts holds into like his apartment, his girlfriend's apartment and everything, and he's climbing up them, and he's got them like trailing outside, and it's all about this guy. And then one day, this guy is just like running on the treadmill, doing his like crazy gym rounds, and Rohan shows up and like trounces him, I think, at his at the treadmill. And the guy's like, who the fuck was that guy? Why is he better than me? And Rohan comes back and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna beat you again at the treadmill. And Rohan's just like trying to style on him and stuff. And it basically all results in this dude trying to murder Rohan by like playing a game where they both have a remote and... Oh no, there's a single remote in between their treadmills. And the treadmills are going up in speed slowly, and the first one to grab the treadmill remote basically announces defeat. And this guy, because he has such hatred for Rohan, like throws a dumbbell behind him, smashing the glass window behind them. And it's like, if you don't stop it soon, the velocity of it will send you flying out of the window if you don't do it. So I'm kind of hoping this has something to do with that, where Rohan's like, oh, I'm hanging out in Hawaii. Basically, this guy ends up getting flung out the window. Rohan manages to beat him, but Rohan's like, I'm pretty sure he survived that, so I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. And I'm pretty sure that was the last one. So I'd really love if it turned out he is hiding out in Hawaii so that guy won't kill him.
Yeah, you never know, man.
Yeah, that's just it. But
it's just an exciting prospect that it keeps showing. Like I'm like, oh, I thought I'd be done after 2 chapters. Like I started this one thinking,
really?
All right, how does this one fuck it up? I'm like, oh no, it didn't. We're so good.
You're just kind of done with JoJo, really, aren't you?
I'm just not into it like I used to be. Like it's just the natural cycle of things. Like I've read so many of them, and I'm like, all right.
It is the same thing with me.
This has been going on since the 80s, man.
Yeah, it is the same thing with me. I've talked about it before. I used to be like a massive JoJo head. Ivan knew me when I was a big old JoJo head.
We used to do JoJo Fridays, man.
Exactly, and I don't know. It's definitely become less of a thing to me. Like, obviously, I still know so much. It's still relevant to like a lot of my interests and likes, but otherwise, yeah, JoJo just is not a priority for me as much anymore. Yeah,
but it's nice when it's doing good, though.
Exactly. Chainsaw Man was kind of interesting. I feel a little mixed on it.
You're a little mixed? I think chapter 123 might be one of the best in the franchise.
The best?
One of the best.
One of the... Okay. Go on. You open up the floor.
The art here... I'm sorry, but every time there's a primordial devil, Fujimoto pops the fuck off. This design is so fucking cool. It turns
out none of us were right, actually, about the devil.
Yeah, no one was correct. Go figure that falling is a primordial fear. We overthought it. Like, we're all looking for, like, the most, like, strong thing.
General concepts.
But yeah, it's falling. It's the sensation of falling. It's everything. Anything on both a literal and metaphoric sense, it has to do with falling. And it's so... fucking terrifying. And they put on the fucking chef. So Fujimoto, we've talked about this, he's a total cinephile. And one of his favorite movies from last year, and one of my favorite movies as well, was The Menu.
Oh, yeah.
Starring Ralphie Fiennes and whoever's playing Princess Peach in the Mario movie. I'm sorry, I should put more respect on her name. And Anya Taylor-Joy. It's a very good movie. I highly recommend it. And so you can tell he's playing with his shit. He's getting his yes chef on. That shot I mean, so we get like a little bit of a one shot with Asa's time in an orphanage, and this thing that has to do with a cat where she's hanging out with a cat. She's not interacting with other children, and the caretaker's like, hey, wouldn't your cat be wouldn't you be happier if you were hanging out with the other children and the cat was hanging out with other cats? Like, come on. And so she's like, fine, like, give the cat a good home.
You know, I was genuinely expecting her to argue with them and, like, kick up a fuss. And then she's just like, his name's
like,
Crambon. Make him happy. And it's like,
it makes perfect sense. And then later that night, the kids at orphanage go, hey, that cat I used to hang around with, have you seen it lately? And she's like, no, I sent her away to another home with other cats. It goes, we saw a dead cat in the river. And then you see the caretaker waiting in the shadows outside their bedroom going, it's not fair that you get a cat. The cat fucking died. And then she's just like Homer Simpson's back into the shadows. And it's just like, it's such a Fujimoto thing.
It
like,
is.
It's so outrageous. And it works. It's sad and it's crazy. It's both ridiculous and dramatic and sad. Like, it's so good. It's so entertaining. Because above it all, it's entertaining. And then you see Asa falling, and she grabs onto a bar. And then we go out, and we see one of the best... I mean, the year has only just begun, okay? We're 3 months into 2023. We're seeing one of the best panels of the fucking year. Where Asa's hanging upside down. You see the abyss of the Black Knight below her. We see people on the street who are not upside down, who are upside down from our perspective, looking at her like, what the fuck? It's so disorientating and so fucking sick. Because you rarely see the sky in this series. I mentioned this when we were talking about chapter 1, where they're just like in a fucking cavern of fucking skyscrapers and buildings and alleyways. So when you do see the sky, it is fucking terrifying. And it's almost like everyone is seeing the sky for the first time, and then all of a sudden, people start falling into the sky. It's so
and doors are opening.
Fucking terrifying.
And they're flying into doors, weirdly.
Which seems to be indicative of hell.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because the last time we saw the doors was in hell. I swear to God, every time the primordial fears show up, just pops the fuck off. This has been the most ridiculous, outrageous, terrifying, entertaining chapter of the series. Love it.
Interesting.
Perfect. Thank you, Chef.
Okay, here's my thoughts on it. So for one thing, I don't think it is, but it fell super short. I wanted more progression. I wanted a little more going on this chapter because Chainsaw Man has been very... Chainsaw Man's been super slow lately. It has been.
It's been slow for like 2 or 3 chapters, but like,
admittedly,
no, we were enjoying what was going on before.
I did not watch the menu, so maybe
you don't need to watch the menu.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
That was just a little bit funny, little fun trivia I wanted to bring up.
But oddly, I wasn't that fond, and maybe this is just me being nitpicky. Maybe. But I wasn't that fond of the fact that the devil seems to have this weird, like, personality and gimmick to, like, you know, who they are, I guess, that they're talking about hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. Yeah, but I kind of like the fact that the devils are very vanilla at the start, and I would kind of prefer that if this were the case, if this were the no, let me get my point across. If this were the case, I would prefer if this devil is going to be like a regular character or whatever, for whatever reason, I would really prefer it if they built up these characters into having personalities. Like this, for example. If this devil came into the world and everything, and it's just like this weird, malformed thing, and then he gets a human form and returned later on, and it's like, oh, I'm just super into fucking cooking and shit. That's what I've been doing in my free time or something since I've been in the human world. I want more of that, because like how War's getting more of a personality and stuff through interactions in the human world, I want them to get it. I felt like, I guess I'm almost like, what the fuck? Why does Asa have just the worst fucking life? I want it to like, I don't have a problem.
Toy character, the same reason why we enjoy Kobeni. We've discussed this.
But we've discussed this. I don't enjoy Kobeni that much.
And that's fair. Like, you don't have to enjoy Chew Toy characters.
Yeah. I don't.
But Asa has a lot more going on than being a Chew Toy. She's an incel as well. And it's hilarious.
I like incel stuff.
She's a fucking trash gremlin. It's so much more interesting.
It is, but I'm also like,
what do you
I
find
am
more interesting? Deku getting his way all the time, or this?
The only thing I can think, because so far I'm like, I don't understand, based on these events in her life, how she could become the person she is, unless it's because of the fact that a lot of the things that have happened in her life aren't her fault. Really? I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I don't see...
They're not directly her fault, but it has been insinuated that there's a bit of a cowardice that complies with that. A bit of a clumsy. It seems to be attributed to her clumsiness and cowardness, and maybe a lack of selfishness. Like she's like a non-participant in life.
Yeah,
and,
that makes sense.
There are issues, and that's what's been like. It's not a literal cause of why she's lost so much of her life, but it's definitely insinuated in the narrative, and that's what's become. It's the fact that Asa's actually becoming a fucking person throughout the story. She's starting to engage with life. She's having arguments with people. She's going to school. She's trying to date Denji. Like she's grown a lot since we were introduced.
She has, but I guess it's a case of, I don't know. Would it be that I should have said something like, well, it's not my cat, it's the family, it's our cat. Like, cause I'm just sort of like, why does she have to have so much shit? I'm waiting for all the shit that she has been through, because Denji had a bad time. We obviously have the stuff where it's like, you know, at the very beginning of the story.
Yeah, Denji had the same
it reveals
shit.
As it
was
goes,
just more condensed.
And then it reveals, oh, Denji, you're actually fucked up. You killed your dad. You're the reason that you are all alone, because you fucking hated him. So technically, you like put yourself in this situation by murdering your father. And it's like, oh fuck, okay. But for Asa, I'm just kind of like, all of this stuff happens to her for no real reason yet that like contributes to the story. Does that make sense?
Well, I think it contributes to the fact that the story is a dark comedy.
Oh no, yeah, I get that, but it's like I want it to actually
I get it. You want a little bit more meaning. You want everything to be connected at the end.
I don't want everything to be connected.
Because you mentioned that Denji killed his father, but you forgot the detail that it's practically like there was a bit of predestination going on. Like it was almost it's insinuated that this was all pre-orchestrated by Makima.
Was it?
And that ties everything together.
Was it pre-orchestrated? I don't think it was pre-orchestrated by Makima.
Go back and read it, where she shows him interacting with him as a child.
I thought that was just like a vision thing.
It's that, but it's vision and implication.
I not vision thing. I thought that was more like, how do I put it? I thought that was more like her interacting
in his mind,
with
infantilizing him. Yes, but no, it was that and more. Like it's an implication through that she's been controlling him his entire fucking life. And the story of Chainsaw Man is Denji breaking from this fucking cycle.
I will have to read that. I don't not believe you, but I'm skeptical for sure. I'll definitely take a look at that again for sure.
It's not literal. It's implied.
Yeah. I don't hate this chapter, but there are just some things that I'm kind of like, I'm not like digging it entirely. I do agree.
We talked about how this was like shades and
I do agree with you though that the shot of her upside down is very cool. Also, it looks like there's awesome. Like a door above her as well, so it's like she was.
That's a ruler.
Is it? Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, it's her ruler sword.
Yeah, her ruler sword falling.
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
That'd be a weird ass door.
Also, I do think that the bit where it's like all of the arms and ligaments like twisting the woman's head off and then just like holding it in place is pretty cool.
It's a sick design. It's design.
It's weird. It's got like weird mantis claws or like weird. I can't tell what it is. It's like tentacly.
Go back to the Darkness Devil. They all have a very specific body plan.
Yeah.
Like they're just like a concentration of limbs contorted around.
I feel like that's because I want to say that might be because like no single human can really like hold in that. Maybe that might be why.
I don't know why. It might just be a Horikoshi thing too, where he just likes to draw limbs.
Their presence or them possessing people, unlike other demons, is destructive to the human body. So they amass multiple people to hold themselves in the human world. Maybe
think it's just meant to be creepy. Again, sometimes, there isn't a meaning to things, especially for a guy like Fujimoto, who definitely just does what he thinks looks coolest, and he's succeeding at that right now.
So I don't hate it. I'm just kind of like, I could have used something else in this chapter.
For me, it was the fact that a couple of weeks ago, we resigned ourselves to understanding that this was going to be a weaker sequel, that it was going to be a repetition.
True.
Kind of a gotcha of, like, we're doing the same thing, but differently again. Whereas, clearly, this is the Darkness Devil again, but it's not literally the Darkness Devil again like it was the Eternity Devil again or the Bat Devil again. This time we've gotten something fucking new, and it looks really fucking cool, and it's got a funny ass gimmick.
I think it's vaguely Darkness Devil-esque. I think the other thing I'm not really digging about Chainsaw Man lately is that we seem to always jump between only like 2 scenes maybe. But then again, One Piece is doing a thing lately where it's jumping between a lot more different
okay, yeah,
like
so do you
scenes.
do you just want to get to
like,
One Piece now? Because you've hit my like biggest issue with One Piece right now.
No, yeah, see, that's exactly it. It's like I'm stuck between like One Piece is moving between too many scenes maybe, and I feel like Chainsaw Man isn't moving between
It's not even
enough.
too many scenes. It's like 20 fucking scenes.
Yeah.
One Piece is jumping to different scenes, several different scenes on a single page right now.
It's
One
really
Piece chapter
weird.
1078.
And
One Piece is getting fucking messy right now, you guys. This
kind
is
of
rough.
is. Shall I set out the set the scene?
No, yeah, said it, man.
Okay, so Island of the Future, Egghead Laboratory is fucking... It is messed the hell up between all the fights that are going on and the destruction between S-Hawk, S-Bear, S-Snake, Frankie, Luffy, Kaku, Lucci, just everything. Everything is going to hell in a handbasket. All of the citizens of Egghead, which is so weird. So everyone who is there is like a worker, I assume, who like, you know, contributes to Egghead, I guess. Sentomaru basically lets everyone know, look, the military are coming, Kizaru's coming, they're gonna blow this place to hell in a handbasket. It's gonna be Ohara Part 2. Get the fuck out of here right now. They are not going to let anyone live. Frankie, Usopp, and Lilith, as well as York, are petrified right now, and there is implication that Pythagoras has been murdered.
He got stepped on.
He got big fucking steppied. That's what happened.
Boa stepped on him. The fate that most One Piece fans would like to have.
So true. And I honestly, I want some of these Vegapunks to die. I want most of these Vegapunks to die.
I think they're all dying, and that's the one thing that you forgot. Like at the beginning of this chapter, they discussed that this chapter is actually basically everything we've been seeing right now has actually been in media res. Like there is an Egghead incident, and it's about to happen. There is now dramatic tension being applied.
Oh, that's right.
If there wasn't enough drama already, because this was the Egghead incident.
Isn't
Which
it
they
like
did before? They did that from Marineford, where they discussed how this was actually in the past.
Yeah, that's such a weird one, actually.
If they do, it's not something that One Piece has ever shied from doing. It's always so jarring. It's like we already know shit's going down, but now that Oda's like, yo, some shit is gonna go down. It's like, yo, Oda, I've been here for like over 1,000 chapters. I believe you, bro.
It's a weird one because like we've never seen a thing like this where Luffy and the crew are involved, where we are actually looking into the past tense of things. It's pretty strange, actually.
I mean, Luffy was at Marineford, so like, no, they've done this before.
That's true. So, Pythagoras gets fucking stepped on by S-Snake,
all these eggheads are dying. I think it's funny because they're not really alive.
Yeah, it's like Oda being like, oh, see, I kill people, but you're not killing people, Oda. You're destroying
it's
robots.
Cops and robbers, and only your toys break.
I actually love this bit, by the way, with Sanji, where S-Shark punches him in the face, presumably with like a shark or brick break fist or something, and Sanji just tanks it, and he's there grinning at him going, do you understand what the power of love means? I'm eating today. I love Sanji, as you know.
I love Sanji too. My problem is the fact fact that this clearly isn't the power of love. This is now Sanji's a biological fucking freak.
Well, I wouldn't say so. I would say, really, it's whatever Sanji wants it to be, because he's, like, defining himself not based on what his brothers and sisters are.
He can call it whatever he wants. It's eugenics, but he can call it whatever he wants. And all power to you, man.
And
it's not eugenics, it's love. I swear.
Anyway, S-Hawk escapes from the fight between Luffy, that was a good one, Luffy, Kaku, or should I say Usopp and Zoro, and S-Bear is the only one left, which Lucci and Luffy seem to be double teaming on. And there's a nice little bit where Luffy tells Kaku, says, "Hey Usopp, go with him please, he gets lost so freaking easily." And it doesn't even like occur to him that Luffy called him that until like he starts running away. And, we get all the hits and everything, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Like, Luffy's doing gum Gatling at frickin' S-Bear and all that. Lucci's yelling at him. We get a bit of a rundown of the events just before. And, interestingly, we have Kizaru along with one of the 5-star elders going to, Vegapunk, which I feel like one of the 5-star elders might die here? Maybe? If this is such a big event, I'm not sure. But
it's an incident.
I was actually discussing this with a guy at the gym who I see every so often, and he was just really talking to me about One Piece. I didn't even initiate the conversation, believe it or not. And he is certain that there are members of Sword going along with the Buster Call, and he actually said, I think that there is going to be a civil war that breaks out in the Navy through this event.
If it's not
because
already
some
happening?
people, because there is already talk that there are people who follow Akainu, and then there are people who really don't like Akainu in the way that he goes about doing
Less
things.
a civil war, more of a schism.
Maybe, but I think it would be very cool if Egghead does turn into a small civil war, or schism, as you said, between, like, members of Sword and the main Navy, because who the fuck would really want Ohara Part 2 to happen, right? Who really would? And then we cut to Vegapunk. He is still in shock at the fact that Shaka has been shot. And straight up, I know he's a robot, but we've got like a massive chunk missing out of his freaking head. This is like the closest thing we've ever seen to someone getting like absolutely shot in the freaking dome. And it turns out the traitor is fucking York.
Yeah, it's York.
Which
couldn't. Cool.
Which couldn't have been guessed by anyone because we literally saw York
it could have been any of the Vegapunks. We knew it.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be one of the Vegapunk. I always said Lilith because they literally called her evil and shit like that.
Yeah, and then
at one
Shaka
point,
looking suspicious in his fucking Daft Punk helmet.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's all hiding in plain sight.
At one point, it literally even occurred to me, because as I've said many times in this fucking podcast more recently, watching Full Metal Alchemist, the person who, whenever there is something where it's like, oh, I have multiple personalities that have been put into like bodies or something, and it's like, greed is always the one that obviously wants more. Greed is usually going to be the fucking traitor. And York is just like, hey Stella, it's me. I'm gonna be a celestial dragon. And it's like, why the fuck would you want to be a celestial dragon? I have taken you to Marie-Joie. They are awful people. Why would you want to be them? And she just says, why are you doing this? And she just goes, you are sounding just like Shaka right now, but guess what? He's dead! It's really confusing, isn't it? With so many Vegapunks around, this world will be better off with only one of us. And honestly, I kind of fucking agree with her.
That's basically the plan right now, is that this whole incident's gonna end with one Vegapunk that actually fucking, like, works with the government.
Yeah, and maybe probably one Vegapunk that is going to go with the Straw Hats. Whether that is going to be the main Vegapunk is up in the air, quite frankly. I mean, we don't know, actually.
They're all Vegapunk, and
like
they're all gonna die except for York and Prime. We'll call him Vegapunk Prime.
Stella, yeah.
Stella, yes.
Yeah. Vegapunk Prime is gonna fucking die. I do love the look of shock on Stella's face in, like, the second to last panel.
Yeah.
Where you can just barely see his little tongue poking out. So here's what annoys me about this. And I know you have the same thought. The fact of the matter is, The whole thing about the Egghead brain on the very top of Egghead Island, it's supposed to be like a cloud storage. And as far as I understood it, it was that each Vegapunk does their own little thing, doing like their experiments. York just eats and lays around and does...
they're one part of a whole.
Yeah, and jacks the fuck off so everyone can like get on with work and shit. So York had it like, was sitting pretty, quite frankly. We have seen York be petrified, which is what makes this confusing. And I'm
Clearly
sure...
a setup.
Yeah, and I'm sure that...
Because Boa can undo petrification, right?
Yes, yeah, and apparently I think
So
petrification...
that's probably what they did. They just fucking, petrified her, and then when the jig was up, I was like, all right, now go do your thing.
Maybe. So it's like, on that count,
They're thoroughly
maybe it
convinced.
works.
Go ahead,
but
go now.
My understanding of the brain was that everyone like connects to it and shares the same amount of knowledge and whatnot. So I'm just sort of like, how could any one of them betray the other?
Because I mean, Lilith was fucking
going to kill the
trying
Straw
to make
Hats,
deals
yeah.
and shit and steal ships. So like, they got their own things going on.
Yeah, but it's like, I feel like at the same time, it's like they are all still aware of this stuff going on, and it's a case of, can, say, Shaka get in my way or give me a reason not to do the shit that I just like to do? Because Shaka, like, makes Lilith step down with pure logic, where it's just like, Lilith, you're fighting a Yonko's crew, look at Roronoa Zoro, he is ready to fucking kill you. Where you stand, you don't stand a chance. Stand the fuck down. And she just kind of went, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna do this then. And that made sense. With Yorkin stuff, it's just like, I don't get it. I almost want it to turn out to be Katarina Devon, to be honest. I would genuinely prefer Devon show up and be like, oh no, I have just been like, wandering around this island, pretending to be people. Blackbeard is actually involved in this or something. Because I think that'd be another reason why this would be such a big event. Like if Luffy and Blackbeard and the Navy clashed or something. I've got so many things going in my head. There's no point in me explaining everything that I'm thinking right now. It would just be kind of ridiculous at a certain point. I kind of don't like this turnabout, to be absolutely honest.
But right now, I'm just not surprised. Like, because we already guessed that it was going to be one of his Vegapunks, and it's happening. Like,
I know we knew.
This is cruise control.
We knew, but I didn't want it.
We knew what we were getting ourselves into with this arc.
I did not want it to be that, though. I really didn't, because I just thought, yeah, it's just too obvious. But hopefully, I believe in Oda. I do believe this will turn into like a really like great freaking arc, hopefully. But right now, I am just really not feeling it, and maybe I'm still like reeling from like the last 2 chapters. But it's just like, yeah, you're right. We're on autopilot right now.
Yeah, and it's fine. I still take this over Onigashima. I still do.
To a degree, yeah. I still think Onigashima had its merits, but it just went on too long.
This is still going somewhere.
I mean, I was explaining to this guy at the gym, I think that this would have been better if instead of Lucci and Kaku showing up, because I understand, like, it's for the fans that Lucci and Kaku show up.
Well, they say there's a reason why they show us is people won't shut the fuck up about who's gonna win a fight, and now that Luffy's Gear 5, and we finally just demonstrated that, yes, Luffy wins, but not because no one else gets awakened power-ups either. Like, everyone's doing shit, alright?
Like, I almost feel like... which we didn't actually get a chapter of this week, did we?
No, but he's still on break. He might be back next week, but like we said, he should take like 3 months off.
I don't know about 3 months. I'd say, yeah, I mean, however the fuck long he wants. I mean, he's royalty right now.
He took a month off, and it wasn't enough, apparently.
True. I almost feel like this would be a little more interesting, personally, but this guy that I was talking to was all like, oh, but then it'd go too fast. If Kizaru showed up right on the fucking start. Right at the start when Kaku and Lucci showed up, if Kizaru was there. Right at the beginning of it. He just like fucking boop, came there and started tearing shit up. But then I suppose the whole thing moved too fast because then it's going to be like, oh, I've got to use the light gauntlets against Kizaru. That's the other thing that could be the egghead event or something. Is Kizaru going to be defeated or something? Who frickin' knows? It's all, you are right, it's leading up to something, but once again, I'm just mixed on a lot of things this month, and that's about all I got. Tell me about Fabricant 100. What's going on right now? I forgot to read it. I've just, like I said, my week's just been busy.
Nothing big changed since the last time I talked. Just the fact that, again, You know what? There is something worth talking about with Fabricant 100, and it's the fact that the discourse surrounding Fabricant 100 right now is actually quite interesting. People like it, but everyone is now bitching about the fear of the axe.
Oh.
And it's like,
well, that's a realistic fear in this.
That's what I said. I said that's a reasonable thing to be afraid of. It really is. And some people are complaining that maybe like the way things are popping off in this series right now is because the author is afraid. Bro, you cannot blame these young fucking mangaka for being afraid about that.
Yeah.
It's fucking rough. But speaking of which, the guy who does Hunter's Guild, he got his new series. He's gonna be on the he's on the edutainment version of Jump.
Oh, edutainment.
He's getting a little series to himself. That's quite interesting.
Okay.
I think it's a co-production with someone else as well. Like, I don't know, it looks interesting. Like, I don't have the notes in front of me right now. I'll try to bring it up next week, but yeah, that's cool. I think that's also the same magazine that Boichi is also going to be on next. So, they're really beefing up this edutainment Jump. I'll say that.
I really think that more mangaka need to do like, you know, joint projects with people where someone takes care of writing and someone takes care of art. Yeah,
yes.
Collaborations. Because like it worked for the guys who did like Death Note and stuff. Like
worked for Dr. Stone.
Yeah, worked for Dr. Stone, absolutely. I mean, as you know, I loved Dr. Stone when it came out, but after the Stone War and everything, I just felt like it kind of ran its course for me personally.
It wore itself thin. It really wore itself thin. I really enjoyed it because at the end of the day, it was such a fucking innovative shonen that I could forgive it for stretching itself so fucking thin and petering out in the end. Just because it was still the most fucking interesting thing on the magazine. Yeah, and to this day continues to be.
I honestly, just in general, the 2016 like lineup of manga was just, I mean, I didn't like Demon Slayer. I didn't give a shit about Demon Slayer when it came out around 2015, 2016 or whatever. But Promised Neverland, as you know, started off as a fucking goat. The first like 60 chapters of Promised Neverland are so goddamn perfect. And the anime absolutely encapsulated that in the first season until dropping the ball harder than anything I've ever fucking seen.
A very rare case where the anime was superior to the original. Not because anyone was bad, but because sound. Just the sound design alone in fucking Promised Neverland was such a, like, boon for that story.
It really is. It did an amazing job with, like, you know, sound, voice acting, even. I don't know about the dub.
Just
I watched the Japanese.
The humming from Mother to indicate that one kid was her son. Just, again, sound was so important.
It really was.
And the animation was also good. I mean, Cloverworks. They collaborate on Spy X Family. Like, we like Cloverworks. Unfortunately, they just kind of abandoned the project halfway through.
Yeah, it's just...
It happens.
I really don't understand. Like, I almost feel like they just knew that, like, Promised Neverland after those first 60 chapters.
No, the understanding is, we've discussed this, it's, are you Mappa or are you Bones? Are you going to cut things or are you going to torture people to get what you want?
Nah, I think Promised Neverland's just a whole
and there's an
fucking
argument for both,
fish.
Sadly.
But
I don't like the argument for Mappa.
I also feel like Dr. Stone was probably improved by being an anime, to be honest. You're a bit mixed on it,
I don't think so. I don't think Dr. Stone had any business being animated. I don't think that style is served by animation.
Oh, fair enough. I really liked the first season of Dr. Stone.
But in terms of accessibility to a more mainstream audience, yes, it was important. Also, its soundtrack is fucking awesome. Toho projects always have killer fucking soundtracks.
I wonder when we'll get a Sunken Rock anime.
Who knows? Eventually, if they run out of ideas. Again, if they keep canceling jumps, if they keep axing them before they can be fucking adept, that's gonna be the most interesting thing about this, like, Shonen Jump to fucking anime fucking pipeline that is so inevitable. The fact that they've been cutting so much so recently, what material are they gonna have for adaptation, considering that the ones that do stay still don't last that long?
No.
Like, think about Undead Unlock and Mashal and stuff like that. These are all ending. Like, they don't have very long lifespans
I have a quick question, by the way, because we're 1 minute to an hour, so we should really wrap this up.
And we gotta be nice to our editors.
Do you think that RWBY Dragon is ever gonna come back?
It is coming back. They basically, all the copywriting and patenting in the background indicates that it's coming to Jump Plus.
Interesting. Okay, that's good then.
It's all on the manga to get well soon and make a plan. However, considering what happened to Hunter x Hunter, who the fuck knows? What the fuck do plans really mean? When Horikoshi says he was gonna end it My Hero last year, and who the fuck knows if he's even gonna end it this year?
I thought it was gonna be
now.
early this year or something.
No, he said that he was ending it in 2022, and then that didn't fucking happen. A year later, it did not happen.
I'm glad he didn't, because we discussed this.
He apologized and said, "I'm not gonna say when it's gonna be done, but I'm trying to get it done." And then the man has been on several fucking health hiatuses. I don't know if My Hero's ending this year, because we're in a very weird place, because I feel like the manga that was supposed to replace My Hero Academia, I think it was Fabricant 100. All signs are starting to point that Fabricant 100 was the one that was supposed to be here.
I will say, looking at Fabricant 100, I kind of hope that it leans more towards a violent, really fucking dark tone as it goes.
It's a very harsh story so far. Again, the place that they work for...
But you know me, Ivan. You know me. I want harsher. I want more blood.
Well, you're on the wrong magazine, bud.
Probably. I believe that's the train, though.
But if you want, Jujutsu Kaisen, I think that will give you what you want.
I'm kind of waiting for the anime on that.
Yeah, I think we all are. We all are.
But...
there should be another season coming soon, if not
this season. It is very soon, but that is the fucking train.
Spring anime is upon us.
We gotta be good to Ireland, Ivan. Get on the fucking train. Get on the train now.
That's the thing, though. You keep messing this up. We're always on the train.
Oh,
it's
fuck.
the fact that the train leaves and the recording equipment stays.
Get out the fucking train now, Ivan.
Mind the gap as you exit our podcast safely. Rebuild of Joycast is hosted by Ivan LeRoy and Valentine Stokes. LeRoy's written and directed works can be found on the JoyRide Entertainment YouTube channel and the soon-to-be-released original web manga, PARAMEDIC. Val's dulcet tones can be heard in many of your favorite anime and web series, such as RWBY, Death Battle, Tribe 9, Lackadaisy Cats, and more. This episode was edited by Steena Carey, with YouTube version edited by Cody Rock. Music provided by Lofi Geek. Intro and outro narration by Steena Carey. Outro music composed by Michael Pejovich. Logo and visuals designed by Ivan LeRoy. Rebuild of Joycast is produced by JoyRide Entertainment and Rock Voice Productions LLC, and made possible thanks to Patreon donations from generous listeners like you. This month's highest-tiered Patreon producers are Mr. Host, Gooner Bear, MerryBowTie, Hope D. Cruz, and Greg Hughes. If you would like your name shouted out at the end of each podcast, an invite to our private Discord to interact with fans, cast and crew, or early access to all of our content, be sure to check out JoyRide Entertainment's Patreon. Links provided in the description. Thank you for keeping JoyRide's engine burning.